Hey guys, welcome back. I'm working on another newer Toyota Tacoma. I say newer, but newer for me. It's a 2006 Toyota Tacoma, 4-liter. Airbag light comes on at times. Also, the cruise control does not work while the airbag light is illuminated. So, I did a video on cruise control not working. It was a case study video. Found out that the switch wasn't working. I was suspecting that the Clockspring may be bad on that one, but it was not. I've had several people request for a Clockspring video. I'm going to scan this one, see what the code is, make sure that it is related to this airbag system. If it's not related to the driver's side, then we will continue on with the cruise control diagnostic. It might be Clockspring, it may not. If it is, then I already have parts here, and I'm going to go ahead and put a Clockspring in it. But I'll show you the codes that I got. PC, airbag, ACTV indicator fault, and open in D squib dual stage circuit. So I don't know if D squib means driver squib. See if this will give me any more information. No bulletins. This says driver side squib circuit. So it is in the driver's side. Let's go back. That other code looked like a passenger airbag indicator. I don't know, it's kind of giving me two different definitions. The code result said PC airbag. I don't know if that stands for active. ACTV indicator fault. But if we look over here, that airbag light is illuminated. I'm going to cycle the key and see if both lights light up. There should be an on and an off. Both of those light up. So that's the passenger airbag indicator. On the dash, the airbag light does illuminate. So let me see if there is factory service information, and maybe that code definition is different in the factory service information instead of in the scanner information. Okay, here we go. Passenger airbag on-off indicator light circuit consists of the center airbag sensor assembly and the passenger seatbelt buckle warning light assembly. So what it's saying is there's a problem here. I don't know, both lights are working right now, so I'm not going to worry about that one, and I'm just going to focus on the driver's side airbag circuit. Let's pull this horn pad and get down to that Clockspring. So I'm going to shut the key off, and then you should unhook the battery to prevent accidental discharge of the airbag system. I'm going to get cameras set up, and then we'll get down below here. We'll have to pull a steering wheel off to get to that Clockspring. Just like in my previous video, we're going to have to pull these two side panels off. There's no screws or anything holding them in. They're just kind of clipped into the steering wheel. So there's that one. And that guy. It looks like two Torx, one on each side. And it is a T30. Now there are little plastic keepers that keep the bolts stuck in there. So you can pull that out, but don't go too far because it is attached. And then now we have the wires going into the back of the airbag. So you should have the battery disabled. That's what the service manual says. Not everyone does. So that choice is yours. So we got these plastic clips right here. We're gonna lift the yellow clip up, and it doesn't lift up real far. That's it, about 1 millimeter or so, maybe 2 millimeters or 1/8 of an inch. That releases these clips from the airbag. And then you can just simply pop those clips up out of the airbag. Set the, oh, we got a horn wire hooked up still. That one is just a spade connector, but it has a little catch. So we need to push, there's a little button, push, pop that down. You want to set this like this on the ground. Don't set it with the pad facing down, because if for some reason this ignites, it'll go launching. It's safer to set it down this way. Okay, now that the horn pad is off with the airbag, we need to unhook a few more electrical connectors in the steering wheel. These wires here will stay attached to the clock spring, but there's 2 white connectors. They have a little push tab on top. Just push that down, pull the connector out. Those will stay with the steering wheel. And now there is a center nut that is holding the steering wheel onto the steering shaft. Now, before we do this, I should have had you do this at the beginning, but make sure that your wheels are pointing straight ahead. Not just the steering wheel, but you want your actual tires pointing straight ahead before we disassemble the rest of this. So tires are good, they're pointing forward. Steering wheel is pointing straight ahead in the vehicle. This is a 19 millimeter nut. Now, if you don't have a steering wheel puller, you can try this method. It doesn't always work, but, oh, heck, this one's already loose. But leave that nut on there. Just loosen it up a few threads. And then if it's stuck on there, put your knees underneath the steering wheel there and there. And you're gonna lift up, and then you're gonna grab the top of the wheel and the bottom of the wheel, and you're gonna start rocking it, and sometimes it'll pop loose. If you don't have the nut on there, the steering wheel is gonna hit you in the face and knock your teeth out. Take the nut the rest of the way off. I'm checking to see if there's a master spline, and I don't see one. So we're gonna have to mark this. So don't pull the steering wheel off. There might be a master spline, but better safe than sorry. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put a line straight up from the center of the steering shaft where the threads are, and then on the steering wheel itself. So there's a little niche here and there. That way I know I get the steering wheel back lined up on the same splines. Pull the steering wheel off, and just looking in there, there is no master spline. So you can get that misaligned slightly. Now, steering wheel cover, I didn't see any screws underneath, but there are 2 screws here. The rest of it probably just snaps apart. So 2 screws. We're just going to wiggle this around a little bit, see if it'll pop apart. I'm going to tilt the steering wheel down. Sometimes that helps. Upper cover's off. I'm going to tilt it back up. And the lower cover's off. So this here is the Clockspring. There's a little sight glass. You should see an orange disc inside that. If your steering wheel was not in the upright position and you're off to the side, you won't see that. If your wheels are turned one way or the other and your steering wheel was still in the upright position, you won't see the orange dot. So if that's not visible, then do not install the new one until you verify that your wheels are pointing straight ahead and your steering wheel was straight ahead. Because that's telling you we're at the center of the steering gear. If you have it off and you turn the steering wheel, it'll overextend the spiral cable inside of here and break it. Now that that is covered, there's a few more connectors we need to unhook. So there's a black connector underneath here. There's a push tab on the bottom. You just push up on that, slide it out. The yellow connector is the airbag connector. I'll have to crawl underneath and get a picture of that for you. There's a sliding piece right here. What we're going to do is we're going to slide that to the right. Once it's all the way over, the connector should release just like that. Okay, now that that stuff is unhooked, there is just a couple of plastic tabs that hold this on. One on each side here and one on the top. I'm just going to take a pocket screwdriver and release those. I'm just pushing down on that tab. That's it. Clock spring's off. We're ready to go back together. Now, people install these from all over the place, Amazon, eBay, Rock Auto. This one is from Toyota. I know that the quality is going to be good on this one. Other people have had good luck with the ones from Amazon. So I'll put a link. If I can find a clock spring with good reviews, I'll put a link to that. If I can find this one on the internet to the OE, I'll put a link to that as well. Your best bet is always OEM on airbag stuff. So there's a orange plastic pull tab. Leave that installed. They changed it and I no longer see an orange disc. I actually see a ribbon of the cable. So I guess if you can see a little hoop in the cable right there, it looks like a line going through that clear screen, then I guess that might be centered as well. But the original one that was in the vehicle, there was an orange disc. We're just going to snap this one into place. Now you don't have to slide that spring-loaded tab back over to install the airbag connector. You can just push it on. It'll click and latch. That's plugged in. Once you're ready to go, you can pull the tab. What that tab does is prevent this from spinning during shipping. I'm going to put the covers back on real quick. I should have left the pull tab on there just to protect it. Okay, with the covers back in place, now we can install the steering wheel. And line up your Sharpie marks. We're going to put the steering wheel nut back on. Tighten it down. I suppose I'll look up the torque specs if you guys have to use a torque wrench. I'll put the spec up on the screen. Now we can plug in the electrical connectors. And we're ready to put the airbag back in. So I got the one wire for the horn. Clip that in. the 2 airbag wires. Once you push the connectors in, make sure they're all the way down, then push on the center to lock it. If you don't push the center down, it'll set a code, because there is there's supposed to be a deal in here that as soon as this tab is released, it shorts the connector out to prevent static discharge and false activation. So now we can set the airbag unit back into the steering wheel. Just kind of wiggle it around until it drops down in flush. We'll tighten the screws on the sides, put the covers on, clear the codes, and we'll be good to go. Okay, airbag pad is in and tight. Horn works. I'm going to start it up, make sure the airbag light, it illuminates, it does its self-check. Airbag light went out. Cruise control turns on. So as far as we're concerned, this is fixed. If you have the factory radio, you can make sure your buttons work. I'm going to go ahead and clear the codes. So that's how you change the Clockspring. This is a 2006 Toyota Tacoma. Other years will be similar, but the part number may be different. So always check your part number. If your airbag light's not on, but you don't have cruise control, I'll put a link to my other video down below where I did a case study testing the switch with the scanner. If the video is helpful, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, click the bell, share the video out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.